Okay, last time, I thought about this intro for a while because we have talked about this fairly consistently since we came back from TravCon 2023. Why is that so hard for me to get out? It's like a tongue twister. TravCon 2023. This will be the last wrap for us. So we spend a ton of time building up to this conference. We spent a ton of time planning and discussing and you name it. This will be it. So I've got two recruiters, both of whom were travelers for us in the past, still maintain their nursing license, and then my brains behind it all here in Omaha, Dolan Delano with me. So we're going to wrap up TravCon. See, there it is one more time. TravCon 2023 on this episode. Atlas All Access starts now. See, I built you up too much.
You called me the brains?
You're the brains behind the Omaha part. Now, Matt Lawhorn technically is the brains. He's my brains in Broken Bow, though, right? He's my right hand. You're my brains here. So I talked to Jasmin, Trueba, and Olivia Jarvis earlier this week and kind of asked them some questions because they're both remote. They're not here in Omaha.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd get you in here and ask you the same questions. So two recruiter/nurse points of view, and then one from you're involved and you've been involved for years with me.
Yeah.
Doing this. So you ready for these?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
All right, here we go.
It's been a while since I've been on Atlas All Access, so I'm a little nervous.
Are you? Well, normally you're on that side, right? And you're not on this side.
Yeah.
Biggest takeaway from TravCon this year. What's your biggest takeaway?
Biggest takeaway from TravCon this year. I'm going to have to say our allied presence there. Every year past that we've gone to TravCon, there was always, one or two, maybe three or four, and maybe we were just missing them. I'm not sure. But it felt like every other person I talked to was an allied healthcare traveler.
They had a huge impact on TravCon this year.
They did.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So shout out to Allied. You guys pulled through. We had a lot of fun. And our man Dan. When
they were chanting his name on the high roller.
Yeah. For Dan is our Allied division manager, and he was there kind of being the recruiter presence, I guess. He was playing recruiter at TravCon. And introducing some of the Allied travelers to Atlas. So
there you go.
I think, more than ever, Allied presence.
I asked Olivia and Jasmin the same question.
So TravCon this year, biggest takeaway is get your flu vaccine and COVID vaccine, number one. My second answer, I guess, aside from COVID and flu vaccine, would be just how awesome this industry is. I feel like it really showed the amount of people that still showed up. I know we're going through a bit of a rough time and a rough patch for everybody. And so it was really awesome to see everybody come out, just show kind of support in the industry and that it's very much still there and alive and, fruitful. So that was really fun to see this year.
TravCon is a reminder to take your vitamin C and get some sleep. But on top of that, TravCon is awesome. It's just one of those things that you need to prepare for ahead of time. If you're new to the industry, do a little bit of research beforehand about what seminars you want to go to, what booths you want to hit, what events for each company that you want to go to, because I think it is very overwhelming for someone first time to TravCon to try and plan and do all the things, especially when things are added on last minute. So kind of just getting a plan together for yourself and figuring out what you want to do. Is your goal to attend as many seminars as possible, or is your goal to experience the nightlight as much as possible? So that's my thoughts on TravCon.
How, if any, could TravCon get better for the traveling healthcare professional? I mean, we've got ideas on our end how it could get better from an agency standpoint.
Yeah.
Put yourself in the shoes, and that's what I asked Olivia and Jasmin to do. Put yourself in their shoes. How could it be better?
Well, the nice, unique perspective that Olivia and Jasmin have is they were both travelers that have come to TravCon before as travel nurses, right? So I'm interested to see what they say. So if I'm going to put myself in their shoes, I would say, how do we make TravCon better? Just go. There are plenty of events before the conference. I know there was maybe some things around the conference that people were unsure about going.
Yep.
And I think that if you come out the weekend before the conference, that's when we're doing all of our events. That's when some other companies are doing their events, and you guys have a hard job. And I'd say take advantage of it. Go and meet other people in your industry and have fun. And the nice thing about going to TravCon is it makes it bigger. You meet more people.
Absolutely.
And those are memories that are going to last a lifetime.
And to be honest, like there's this perception out there, and we have fallen victim to this too. There's this perception out there that TravCon, even the pre-show events, or maybe the show itself, is just a big excuse to go and drink a ton in Las Vegas, and that is not the case whatsoever.
No.
There were so many events that not only that we did, but other companies did that had nothing to do with shots or anything like that. We actually have a rule here that
shots.
We don't buy shots, so nor do we take shots while we're there. So that's a whole different story.
Right. No, I think you're right about that. It goes beyond just the Vegas scene, if you will. Right. It's actually getting together with people in your industry, and there's something that you can connect with everyone that's a part of the same industry, because whether or not they experience the same exact things you've experienced, they've most likely experienced something adjacent to it, right?
Absolutely.
And so those conversations are going to be going the whole time, and you're going to create friends. And I mean, there was travelers that came to our events, never met before, and then hung out the entire weekend.
The whole weekend, which is super fun to watch happen, because we have seen that happen over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's great.
I think they've done a really good job on like certifications, but I think, continuing to add on CEU, different CEU options. I think the Spanish is huge. I've heard so many good reviews for people that really like the medical Spanish class. One of the things that I think would be great for both, this is more on the agency side of things, but to make sure we've done a really good job of this. I know a lot of other companies have too, but making sure that you're not interfering with TravCon itself as far as, the conference side of things, and making sure things are after hours. But really it's just kind of getting the time to spend that FaceTime if you're a potential traveler, to find a recruiter that's a good fit for you. But I think the biggest thing ultimately boils down as to how much bang can you get for your buck? How many certs can you get redone? How much information can you get? So making sure those seminars are up to scruff, and that we always have the latest and greatest information and a variety of information, because this year for me was the most that I've ever seen allied there. So making sure that they're supported as well as the nursing side.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Olivia. I think the certs are amazing. If you can, if they maybe increase some of the ones available throughout the specialties. I mean, your core ones are there, obviously, ACLS, BLS, PALS, NRP, I believe. And so it was nice to see the allied turnout. So maybe veering a little bit towards them as well, and having some specific certs and also seminars for your allied people. Everything else, I really feel like they have got this down. It really is awesome for the newbie travelers, the amount of information from, other travelers, some really senior travelers too. Kay, Trisha, all of them do such an amazing job at teaching newer travelers. I think it's a great networking that they already have in play. So I don't think there's a whole lot, honestly, aside from maybe just adding those certs, that can really improve it, other than I don't know, maybe switch up locations occasionally. That would be kind of sweet if we could go to a couple different places. I know Vegas is awesome for all the things, entertainment and holding that amount and group of people. But I would say that would be my only suggestion. Just from being a former traveler, having gone to TravCon before, I really do feel like, the entire traveling world was really just fixated on RNs traveling. And so it's pretty cool to see all of the allied people coming out. I worked with some allied travelers when I was a traveler, but it wasn't as plentiful as what you're seeing now. And so, they're the core of the healthcare system. It takes all of us to make that ship operate. And so that was really awesome to see the turnout on that side of healthcare.
All right, question number 3. It was more for them because they are nurses, right? They have they still maintain their nursing licenses. So I said, put yourself back in that role again, okay, what are the benefits of TravCon from that perspective when they go? And I mean, they had some great answers.
I think for me personally, it was something that I've realized that we've kind of gotten away from that we used to do when I first started going to TravCon is I feel like it was more like one event per day and then that was it. So we were there for a bigger block of time. I love that we go and do a bunch of different events. I think it's a lot of fun, but I think kind of getting back to our roots and planning, whether it's one nightly event or one pool party that day kind of gives you more of that face time with the travelers to actually spend time. And it's not this shuffling of going here and there. I think the variety is nice and changing up things is nice, but I also think having that FaceTime with someone to be able to hang out with them for, 4 to 6 hours is great because you get a little more time there and you can talk about, when we're at an event and it's only, maybe 3 hours, let's say, we're, making sure that we're touching all the proper people because we want to say hi to everybody. We want to make friends. But we also sometimes don't get to spend the time that we ideally would like to spend with a certain someone or a certain couple people. So that is another thing that I think we as an agency or any agency should be focusing on. Um, as far as other things, I mean, TravCon's pretty nailed, signed, and dated because they're good at what they do. It's been around for a long time, and I really don't think the conference can improve in any other way. It's just making sure we have the up-to-date information that they need.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest things that I remember as a traveler was it was just really awesome to be able to put, just in a physical presence, meeting your recruiter or your agency, the people behind the scenes. We live in such a digital world that, so much of it's going to be email or text message. And so to be able to have those like one-on-one, physical relationships in the sense of sitting down with you, having a drink with you, conversation, it's just such a game changer. With everybody because it humanizes all of us. We're all in this for each other and really do care about one another and our travelers and whatnot. And so that part of it I think is awesome, and I think the more you can do of that is really great. I have so on a traveler aspect, the really big events are really fun because I think that's when other travelers get to mingle amongst themselves, and really form those relationships on the road and whatnot, just a community. But it's also really awesome to have those smaller company events where it's not about, oh, I want to get all these new travelers and, working with us, whatnot. It's more about the ones that are already working with us or and really being able to strengthen those bonds, really be able to give back and just appreciate and get to know one another on that level, on a one-on-one, interaction. So those smaller gatherings, I think, are really, really awesome during TravCon.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with Jasmin 1,000% because I'll give you the perfect example. Adam Collette was my old recruiter, and the first time I met him was at TravCon. So it was very much one of those moments of we sat down, we hung out, we got to know each other. I knew him and all about his family through text and email, but it was never tangible, right? Like I'm not FaceTiming Adam Collette. That's just not our thing. But it was nice to like spend the time, be able to humanize him because and put in the gratitude for the hard work he's done and vice versa for me. I think it was that really solidified our trust, our bond. Like it was huge.
Mine was similar. I got to meet Justin Pedic was my recruiter at the first time, when I went to TravCon. My husband got to go with me. I think they formed a better friendship than him and I had. It was a lot of fun though, because it became again like that kind of normal relationship where they would pick on me or whatever the case may be. Like and down to the fact that I mean, even traveling, amongst the years, I mean, Justin used to send my husband birthday presents. Like it's just a different relationship that you build in that sense. And it's really awesome. So, yeah.
So now I'll modify the question a little bit for you.
Okay.
Now that you've gone with me to how many of these? 4?
So I've worked with you on 5 TravCons, but I've only gone to 4.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what from your perspective, could we do better as an agency to make the experience more?
That's a loaded one.
Absolutely.
Because quite honestly, I think we can always be better. I think every year we go to TravCon, you, Matt, and I sit down for at least 20, 30 minutes, and we're like, man, did you see this? Maybe we need to do this next year. We already had ideas for the booth before we left. We had ideas for events before we left, and as we're doing events, I'm scoping out other places that nobody's taking advantage of, and walking into the Irish, or the was it an Irish restaurant there off by the link? We went in there, and it was almost empty.
It was
on
almost
a Saturday.
empty. Yes,
and they had
that's
the whole
right. The
upstairs.
Irish.
And I'm just thinking like, I'm already making a mental note. Like that's something that we can shoot for next year.
Right.
It's a really good area. What can we do as an agency better? Man, I think just do us better. Be Atlas, be more Atlas. Show, double down on the Atlas way. And what I mean by that is make it about the traveler. We don't scan badges. Some of you have stopped by our booth, and I may have scanned your badge with a rubber chicken.
The rubber chicken, he's in the corner over
rubber
there.
Chicken over here,
Yeah.
and or those bananas that Dan bought.
The magnetic banana.
Yeah. Look, you guys have a job that is very thankless, and I think that when we all come together for a conference like that, and not only are you learning how to be a better traveler, but we're learning how to be a better agency.
Absolutely.
Just through our conversations and just through the experiences that we're having together. Right. And I think that the more times that we put ourselves in a situation as an agency to talk to these travelers face to face, that relationship or that memory or that experience goes beyond a phone call, right? It goes beyond a simple like, hey, what do you think your next job is going to be? Or blowing up your phone after you come to our booth or whatever. Yeah. Like we're not going to be that. And I think that we should double, triple down on that every year.
Absolutely.
And just get better at being us.
I like that answer. Get better at being us.
Yeah.
All right. See, that's why I invited Dolan in here. So, Dolan, thank you so much. I appreciate all your hard work around TravCon. A lot of what you saw behind the scenes was this guy and those two behind the camera and the rest of the brand team that was back here. Like, I cannot thank all of them enough, making it what it was and really pushing us forward. I think every year we get better. I think, and you're not wrong, we can still get better, but every year it's a better experience for us. So,
and I think for the travelers too. I mean, every time somebody comes back, they're like, "Do you remember me from last year?
Yeah.
Do you remember me from 2018?" And like, wow, I can't believe that you guys are still doing this and whatnot. And I think those are things that I take away and cherish.
Yeah.
So
awesome. All right. Well, Dolan, thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next time.